Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac. Let's random, and that's the ideal outcome for any random. Because I was going to say, why don't we just take Isaac, the vanilla character? Because I'm having a lot of fun scumming around with the D6 and making some good things happen. I know, some people who watched the last round were displeased that I ended up taking the Nun's Habit and the Nail, which they consider to be an OP combo. But it is worth noting how hard I had to work to get those. That wasn't just like, oh, Nun's Habit and the Nail just showed up randomly. There were a lot of rerolls that went involved there, and not to mention, I was rolling at literally 2 red heart containers for like the longest time on that run. Literally from like the caves part 1 down until the womb part 1, where I got extraordinarily lucky. This is a tough choice right off the bat here. Whore of Babylon is an item that is very, very good. We actually had this on our last one here. But I took it, and that was a good thing, I think. But I think what I'll do here is wander into this boss room first, and we'll see if there's anything worth re-rolling in there. And if there is, I will probably re-roll Whore of Babylon. I've got a couple excuses that I can use here. One being, Whore of Babylon's not going to be immediately useful, and in fact, is unlikely to be useful for a very, very long time. Even if a Guppy's Paw shows up, I would it would be unlikely for me to get rid of the D6 and carry Guppy's Paw. Like, I might pay for Guppy's Paw, and then stick with it in the hopes of becoming Guppy. Or not stick with it, sorry, but just take it and then put it back down and take the D6 again in the hopes of becoming Guppy, because that does give you an increased chance, obviously, of fulfilling those conditions. But I wouldn't probably put myself in permanent Polaroid invincibility, so Whore of Babylon is unlikely to be very useful in that situation. It could possibly be useful for us if we end up going for permanent Polaroid invincibility at the end of this run, but that's situational to some extent, depends on the items that you get in the RNG. And also, we took it last round, so I think I can justify re-rolling it. We're pretty unlikely to get a better item, but there is a small chance that we'll get an item that is more immediately useful and more beneficial as well. If we end up just getting a shitty passive item, or even worse, a shitty active item, then that's disappointing, but it doesn't make a huge difference in the whole scheme of things, I think. Not having Whore of Babylon, having Whore of Babylon is unlikely to make a really big difference in our run. Instead, we can actually pick up Little Chubby, which is an item that I much prefer from a fun standpoint, because this does allow us to do a little bit more damage with like 1 out of every 6 or 7 shots, depending on our rate of fire. It's not a game-winning item, but it is an item that allows us to do a pretty substantial amount of damage, so I'm happy with that. So, we'll be leaving with the cube of meat as well as Little Chubby, and possibly whatever is in this curse room, which is Rage. This is one of those floors where if it had been later in the game, I would have had a lot of, like, really viable reroll opportunities. But instead, I had to take kind of the cards that were dealt, and to be quite honest with you, that ended up working out pretty well. We have Rage already, we have Little Chubby, and we also picked up a single cube of meat. The cube of meat, I guess, not being that beneficial for right now, but good things come to those who wait. Rage is not the greatest upgrade in the world as soon as you get it, but if we can buff that up with some better base damage, then that becomes a pretty sizable upgrade. I know a lot of people kind of complain about Rage, and they consider it to not really be that good of an item, and you're not wrong. I think Rage is overrated based on its description, if that makes sense. Like, whenever I first saw the description of Rage, I was like, oh, that's awesome. Every time you kill an enemy, you get more damage. And truth be told, I was really hoping that there was a key somewhere in there. Truth be told, it's not as powerful as one would originally think, but it can be a huge benefit on levels where there's a lot of enemies. So hopefully we find a way to get into that item room. Otherwise, it's going to be a long trip. We're probably not going to have reroll opportunities, really, which is unfortunate. We will have one for the boss room, which is what I'm kind of bum rushing right now. But I doubt that I will be able to get one for the boss room and one for the item room. But, we just had to get a key in the first place. That golden chest, obviously useless. I was really hoping for Small Rock, which, again, when you have Rage, is even more beneficial, perhaps, even than average, as a result of the the base damage that you get becomes much more beneficial, if that makes sense. Oh, I really thought that I would shoot the Little Chubby part there and solve the problem. But anyway, okay. Duke of Flies with Little Chubby is an extremely easy boss fight. We just have to make sure that we can hit him with the Little Chubby shot, and then, that was actually a pretty terrible one right there. But let's wait for him to come back up here. And our next shot, yep, is able to do it, which is very nice. And we've raged up here, so we're killing the flies in one hit. Didn't stop me from taking damage, what can I say? 9 lives and Ouija board, both pretty bad, so we'll reroll those, and out of the goodness of my heart and self-interest, because I don't want to see this video, downvoted into oblivion at least 2 seconds in, we're going to ignore Brimstone. It would probably make things pretty easy at this point, by the way. Or, as well, which would make things kind of annoying. I will take the mark, and I'm doing this to mostly make things interesting, but there are some, like, logical reasons I can justify taking the mark. One of them being that we get a spirit heart out of it, do we not? I thought so. So I should, that improves my survivability the slightest bit. There was also an HP upgrade outside of the room, which is important. And additionally, if not for that HP upgrade, I absolutely would not have taken the mark. But also, as mentioned, you know, when you have rage, you want to make sure you get as much base damage as possible. It can't hurt you, except when it does, which it actually might here. We're gonna go to the item room, and it's very unlikely that I end up finding a D6 charge, so I'm just gonna hope that this item is good right off the bat. Unfortunately, Blood Rights isn't. So what we can do here is maybe use one last bomb to try to find the secret room, and I don't think Greed can appear here. We didn't even get it anyway. So I guess at this point, we should not use Blood Rights, but pick it up and then put it back down, up to sundown, see where the bad guys are to be found, and make them lay down. The Defender of the West, crushing all pretenders of the West. Don't mess with us, cuz we in the Wild Wild West. I'm amazed at the fact that my memory works for that. So I'm going to sacrifice that Spirit Heart that I seem so happy to get, just to check out our curse room here, and it didn't have anything in it, but if it did, you would be praising me as a genius right now. Maybe that's a little naive of me. Unfortunately, that didn't really work out. I didn't realize the deal with the devil would still be open. The Brimstone pickup is still tempting, even though we'd only have 1 HP upgrade. But I'll ignore it for now. And, you know, don't take this as me being like, oh, the fans won't let me take whatever item I want. I appreciate having some of this pressure on me. I guess Samson's Lock is good here, too. I appreciate having some of the pressure on me because it does force me to play in kind of new ways, and I think a lot of people have been noticing. A lot of people still complain kind of regardless, and that's fine, you know, there's people out there like that, of course. But a lot of people have been noticing that my play has really, really improved over the past, you know, month or so, and I'm very thankful that people have been paying enough attention to notice that, and, like, it's been, like, pretty visceral, pretty noticeable, if you will, because, you know, we've been winning substantially more often than usual. But additionally, I've been playing a lot more patiently, which is something that previously would have seemed like goddamn antithetical. So, Poison, or the Common Cold, is a totally okay pickup. I'm not going to take it just because it's so risky, and I'm not going to take the Nail. Instead, we'll reroll. And I'm as tempted as I am to take the Pact, because I like it and it's a damage bonus. I'm not going to, and the reason that I'm not going to do that one is because first off, the Pact normally gives you 2 Spirit Hearts, but I don't know if it actually would in this situation, because sometimes when you play as a character who has red heart containers and then you choose to make yourself have 0 red heart containers, the game just decides that you can't take any health immediately, so you don't get the Spirit Hearts. Or it decides, and this is, you know, perhaps equally damning, that you can't get red hearts ever again, so we would automatically be running permanently on Polaroid Invincibility. Which, you know, now makes me think that we probably should have just taken the Whore of Babylon. But again, you can't always bank on that, and we did take the Whore of Babylon last time, so it's nice to mix it up a little bit. Obviously, HP upgrades are a very sore spot for me right now, and the more of those I can get, the better, because otherwise I could, you know, be killed on this room, basically. 2 of these guys running into me would kill me, but I'm gonna hope that, you know, early-ish in the day here, I'm going to be fresher than normal. Last run I recorded, it was like 8 p.m. and I'd already finished recording like 6 hours that day, so I was a little bit exhausted, but it ended up, you know, I was warmed up is the maybe better way to put it. Hopefully on this one, I mean, okay, here's the deal. I guess I'll use 1 bomb here. Oh, but then if I use 1 here, I should still be able to create a bridge, right? Like, it'll just create a bridge upwards instead of the other way. Oh, that's so bad. I'm still going to use my other bomb here to get the remaining, what is it, 8 cents? 8 cents for 2 bombs is not a horrible trade. I was checking to see if the secret room was there as well. And if that had worked and gotten me the bridge, even if it didn't get me the secret room, it at least would have been a good trade-off. But unfortunately, the secret room was not there, and I accidentally blew up the rock. So that's a lesson learned, you know, as long as I leave these episodes having learned something new. That means a lot to me. Now, we have a pill. I am going to take it. Range down. It's not the end of the world, is it? But it's a little scary. What's more scary than anything is the fact that I have 0 keys. Like, that is the serious problem that we are facing here. Because lots of money, but no keys to go to the item room, no keys to go to the shop means the D6 is useless. And it means we're not going to get that much better than we are right now. So, hopefully, I find a way to improve upon that. So, Super Envy may give me an Attack Fly. Attack Fly is an item I actually kind of love. So, although I'm tempted to reroll it because, you know, my reroll finger's getting a little itchy here, although we did reroll the deal with the devil, I may just stick with the tack fly because I do think it's one of those items that, you know, kind of surprisingly can make a pretty big difference on some fights. So, I think that's an item that will be smart for us to take, although a reroll could give us a much-needed HP upgrade, or, you know, anything, basically. So many enemies to dodge. Luckily, there's lots of red hearts available. I would welcome arcades at this point if we could just get some of those bad boys. Because we could maybe snag some HP upgrades from the blood bank. As long as there's an HP available on the level. Please, just finish this off. And we're good. Okay, so it is an attack fly, and we got a key as well. So I'm just going to take the attack fly. And we've already faced a mini-boss. So I think I'm just going to come in here to the shop and hope that there's good items in here. It's a good question, isn't it? So I guess what I'm going to do is take this key, and I'm going to walk this key over to the item room, and then I'm going to decide whether or not to reroll the coin purse, which could have, you know, 3 or 4 HP upgrades or other stats upgrades, could have a bunch of downgrades, so it's a tricky choice. Okay, this is not ideal in my opinion, but I think I'm going to reroll the coin purse, yeah, it is the coin purse with the 4 pills, and I'm going to stick with Rainbow Baby. Rainbow Baby, not the greatest upgrade in the game, but the ability to possibly get the Gish bonus is pretty substantial. We get Book of Revelations, and that's not worth picking up in my opinion, so I'm just going to buy the Spirit Heart, and then we'll leave, basically. And the floor, certainly, it could have gone better. I'm lucky that I did get enough keys to go to both the item room and the shop. We didn't get crazy benefit out of them, but that's fine. Now we need to start the process all over again on the next floor, but hopefully we'll be able to snag some HP upgrades. As of right now, this run is looking fairly similar to the last run, which means kind of scary things, because on the last run, we seriously did have basically no HP for the longest time, and, you know, probably contributed to taking a little bit of time off my lifespan here, because I was so stressed out, but presumably we'll be able to snag one at some point in the near future, and life will be okay. The Fortune Teller is an interesting choice. I say that because oh, that's the worst. Okay. Well, we will be able to reroll the IV bag, which is pretty important, but I was really hoping to get the keys there. So we're going to go one more on this guy here. Hopefully win the keys. Otherwise, we want to save 15 cents in case we get more keys later. There we go. Okay. So that's good. We're going to reroll that IV bag because we are only one room away from having a reroll charge. Now, you know, hopefully we won't die. I did kind of bet it all on that blood bank there, so I could pretty easily find myself in a really tough spot, but I could also gamble if necessary to get a lot more red hearts. So, I mean, again, this is all based on probability, but you know what I mean. I think we should use our bomb to access this treasure chest. Bombs and keys has been a real sore spot so far. We haven't really had any outs for those, I feel, though. So, I'm not going to use the IV bag again, even though it might be tempting because I do have some hearts that I can give it now. We'll re-roll it, and it's Bob's curse, isn't it? Or, yeah, I think it's Bob's curse. I could take it and get 5 extra bombs and they would have poison damage, but I couldn't just, like, pick it up and then put it back down, right? Because it is a passive item. So I kind of want to keep the reroll pedestal. I think the reroll pedestal is more valuable than anything else. And we could just take the bomb bag instead, and that'll handle our bomb problems for us. We won't have poison bombs, but... So I think this is a reasonably okay way to handle this. It's a realistic way of handling it, which is, you know, I don't expect to have 30,000 reroll opportunities here. So why don't we compromise and take the blood bag, but reroll the fuck out of Bob's curse in the hopes of getting a better item. This is good too because, you know, the bomb bag is going to pay out with substantially more bombs over the course of a run than Bob's curse will. I like having poison bombs, don't get me wrong, but I think it's substantially more beneficial for me to just max out my bombs rather than worrying about the extra effects. We're not going to be able to max out our bombs, by the way. Might as well check out our... yeah, we'll buy the 9-volt for sure. And, yeah, I feel pretty comfortable about buying that other red heart as well, just to make sure that we stay alive, and we'll come back here and reroll Bob's curse. 9-volt is going to give us more D6 rerolling opportunities. This is still a very scary run. And it reminds me a lot of the last run, as mentioned, but hopefully we're able to snag something here. Rosary's just not good enough, unfortunately. And I'm keeping my money right now because I'm debating whether or not to reroll the... Or not reroll, whether or not to take the Spirit Heart or the key. And In a perfect world, I would love to take both. In a close to perfect world, I would ideally love to take the key because I won't need... I thought maybe I could push that bomb, but I kind of froze up a little bit, didn't I? In a perfect world, take both. In a close to perfect world, take the key. Because I wouldn't need the health, but it's totally possible that I will need the health. But since we're up here, why don't we ignore the fact that our reroll is ready, and we'll just come and fight Gertie quickly, and if we have to use a reroll, we will. Because there's a fairly likely probability that we'll be able to get an HP upgrade from our boss here, which is of extraordinary benefit. I think it should be noted at this point, if you haven't noticed already. Now, Gertie is going to die pretty quickly. Our damage is quite nice, especially with the kind of rage modifier. No deal with the devil, and it's Pageant Boy. Pageant Boy is real bad, and that is really good. So that is a damage plus tears upgrade. And now we have at least 2 rooms left with which we can... we could trade a bomb for a key here, which seems like a smart idea, in all honesty. We can do it over here and actually look for the secret room instead, which might give me enough money to buy something else on the next floor. That Pageant Boy... Oh, the bombs are too strong. That Pageant Boy reroll was pretty clutch. Now, do I want to trade 1 bomb to go to 0 bombs, 2 keys? I don't think so. If I was at, you know, the swap in the other direction made a lot more sense. So it looks like we won't be able to reroll the rosary. And since that is the case, I am also not going to, just trying to think. I'm not going to pick up the rosary either. Even though it would give me spirit hearts, it would also probably ruin shops for me for the rest of the game. So I think we have to be a little bit more, you know, living life on the edge here. We will go up to our mob trap room. Oh, we will get 1 more charge. Never mind. Disregard this. I'm an idiot. Okay, and now we now probably will not reroll the rosary because instead I'm going to get rid of, or reroll 9 lives. Now, people always want me to farm 9 lives. Farm bosses using 9 lives, I should say. And I believe that the way that this is done, if you're not familiar, is basically you kill yourself after beating the boss, and then you can just go back and fight the boss again. I'm not gonna do it just because it's gimmicky by my taste. It's fun, don't get me wrong. I've never actually really done it for myself, but when I see the runs, I'm like, oh, that's a cool run. But I also don't know the intricacies of it, and I'd hate to ruin my run just by being an idiot. I'll read up about it maybe in case I get an opportunity to do it again. Reroll this. Teleport. All right. Well, we will take the D6 with us because I don't want to accidentally teleport and leave it behind. And the secret room does not appear to be in a great location, but we will come down here and for 5 cents we will buy a key. Could have been a better floor. That being said, the HP plus damage upgrade is very nice, and if we can get 1 HP upgrade for the next few floors and then tap out with a Guppy's Paw after like the Womb Part 1 boss fight, that might give me enough to survive. It's debatable. But, you know, 3 hearts are a lot better than 2. Gives me a little bit more tolerance, for sure. And now it's like, do I want to have 2 bombs and 3 keys? Or, sorry, 1 bomb and 3 keys. And I think the answer to that is yes, because, you know, every extra key means a lot. But I do want to have at least 1 bomb in case we come across tinted rocks. Or, you know, in case you need a bomb to bomb your way through something or to get more bombs. It's always nice to have some supply of explosives here. We do have the bomb bag, which should help us out a little bit more. So, this is a one of those floors that I would refer to as probably a moment of truth. It's not an XL floor, which is good because it means we double our amount of possible shops remaining in the game. But it is Necropolis. Necropolis is a very tricky floor. This is a no-brainer. Please pay out with something. That is nothing, but on the bright side, we didn't really lose anything by going in here either. So we'll pick up our heart and move on. Hopefully we come across a terminal room as soon as possible. And it's at this point when I often like to take stock of how a run is going and, you know, discuss how a run is going and what we need to succeed. The problems of this run right now are pretty apparent. I don't have enough HP to probably coast through the rest of the game. And this is an exact situation that I was referring to when I said it's always nice to have some explosives so you can get more explosives, because obviously we have a number of good opportunities for that right here. That 1 bomb got us 2 bombs and a key. But yes, we lack HP. We have good damage. I would be, if you made me choose, I would be okay with like keeping this amount of damage for the remainder of the game. I would love to get more, obviously, but we could probably make this work if we had to, and the other kind of foibles in our run were compensated for. We're definitely going to pick up the relic here. That is a no-brainer as far as my strategy goes. We would love the ability to fly. The D6 is already augmented with 9 volt, which is nice. So we do have some upgrades. As much as I've made it seem like this is kind of a dire circumstance, it is and it isn't, right? Like, it's dire because we have not a lot of HP, but if that gets solved, then a lot of the problems just kind of melt away afterwards, I think, because we have a number of nice benefits, and my damage is quite good, which is by far the most important thing on a run like this after having enough health to survive. And, you know, of course, the better your damage is, the less health you need to survive to some extent, although in the late game, it's still kind of a war of attrition for the most part. So, deal with the devil here would be interesting. Let's see. We do indeed get one. Squeezy, interesting item. I wouldn't be... Yeah, okay, so we're probably going to maybe reroll Squeezy and keep... Oh, that was really bad. Reroll Squeezy and keep the lump of coal. And the reason for this is that I like the lump of coal a lot. I think it contributes a lot to... I needed some speed. It contributes a lot. And Squeezy, on the other hand, it's not bad. I like Squeezy a lot as an item. I believe it's a shot speed up, not a tears up, but that might just be people trolling the shit out of me. But I would much prefer to have like an HP upgrade, and also we can reroll the shit out of this like 30 times if we want. So let's reroll it. We don't want the range upgrade, and we do have a number of opportunities. This is what I was getting at. We have a number of opportunities to reroll it over and over as time goes on here. So there's our secret room. I just used the moon card to get here and then blew it up, and we didn't really get anything of value at all out of this. This is not the right way to go if you want to maximize your rerolls, and I should have realized that, actually. That's a misplay by me, so we might only get one reroll. And if we end up not getting the 2 Spirit Hearts from Squeezy and the shot speed upgrade, it's probably a pretty big negative, but we will open that. But first things first, let's make our way back down here. By that, I mean, of course, we can't pick up Squeezy anymore. Like, I've already made my decision. But I'm talking about, like, the opportunity cost in the end, basically. If it ends up being that we don't pick up anything on that boss room, then Squeezy was obviously the right play. But, you know, hindsight's 20/20. If we end up picking up Polyphemus as a result of that room, which I don't even think is possible, but if it happens, then I would be very happy with myself, obviously. And again, by not picking up Squeezy, I actually am not feeling bad about all of this HP that I'm losing here, because obviously it doesn't really cost me too much, because I can just pick up more red hearts later. Whereas if they were Spirit Hearts, those Spirit Hearts would be gone forever, and I would be like, oh, woe is me. But I would have Whore of Babylon, which would probably simplify things as well. So there's our secret room, which we've been to many a time. We might as well go back in here, actually, and just take our red hearts so we don't have to go back later. And we'll reroll the range upgrade. What's an ideal upgrade? You know, raw liver. It's like a +2 HP. Any HP upgrade would then probably be after that. I would also love to get the pentagram or an awesome tears upgrade. You know, any of those is fine by me. 8 ball is probably not it. It's a shot speed upgrade with a tarot card. The tarot card really provides the principal benefit there, and sometimes that can actually end up saving your run. But again, it's a little RNG-y, so I can't really rely on that. And I worry a little bit about how much of our damage is caused by our tears and how much is caused by the fact that we have Samson's Lock. I don't think Samson's Lock contributes a ton to this run, but it is a little scary knowing that that might end up playing a pretty major role. Now, we don't actually have access to our shop right now, which is kind of surprising, but I will come up here to our mob trap room and prepare for the long, slow Ekans used bind here, because this is where we start squeezing the shit out of this run in the hopes of really turning it into a winnable run. And it's winnable-ish right now, and that's like winnable with an asterisk, and that asterisk is if we get a lot more HP or a little bit more HP and some seriously crazy damage items, we might have a chance. I would also love the compass. That hasn't showed up yet. Maybe on this shop we can make that happen, although I am a little short on cash, unfortunately. Now, the really unfortunate thing about fighting the zombies is that yeah, we'll take this just in case. It's amazing. Teleported us into the curse room, which costs us half a spirit heart. No big deal. And it does take us closer to the boss room, I guess. What was I going to say there? I totally forgot what I was talking about, but that's okay. We'll just continue moving on. At some point, maybe I'll remember it. But for now, it's not really a big deal. So we are going to be getting the Polaroid next. We're We're not quite in Guppy's Paw territory. That's seriously a fucking speed upgrade. To be honest with you, one speed upgrade is okay in this situation. I still would have preferred to have gone Squeezy. But, you know, you have to anticipate that when you're fighting a vanilla boss and you reroll 3 or 4 times, you're going to have 1 HP upgrade possibility crop up, I guess, in this case. But not in this situation. We almost certainly will not get another reroll unless Greed is in the shop. And even then, maybe not. So there's Greed. And we're going to hope that this other room over here contains an enemy so that I can get a reroll. Although a speed upgrade is not bad, and at this point I'm getting a little bit wary about continuously rerolling because it hasn't really provided me with that much benefit. I think this is still worth the risk, shall we say. So this is another pill. Pills have been reasonably bad so far. That's no exception. And we do have one more room full of enemies, and maybe actually another one afterwards. These are tough rooms. Obviously, my spirit heart has gone bye-bye already. Please just do the thing where you fly from side to side on the map, because that makes it much easier. Alright, and this room should be substantially easier than either of the ones that preceded it, but now I am only 1 hit away from death. So this is like last run. It's really pushing me to my limits here. But I should be able to leave this floor with full health and re-rolling that boss room item. Sometimes, you know, you gotta encounter adversity to have something to triumph over. Now, don't get hit by blue spikes. That was exceptionally close. This one, not so bad at all. Okay. So, this should be absolutely plausible. No point, really, in my opinion. I mean, there might be a small point to taking Liberty Cap with us, but I'm not going to do it because we're going to be getting rid of Samson's Lock soon anyway, so it almost doesn't even warrant the mental energy. So, taking stock of this run, we've got the Relic. Critical importance if that ends up saving us. Which it may if I stop taking damage. But, you know, to some extent, the Relic's a little bit too little too late. But if we end up going permanent Polaroid invincibility, crazy benefit for us. There's no way I could pass it up anyway. And finally, we get 1 HP upgrade at the end, which is exceptionally useful. A little bit late, but much appreciated nonetheless. And, of course, we're on Necropolis again, which is going to be a little bit of a trickier sell here. But no deal with the devil here. But, of course, I am hoping that we get that deal with the devil possibility for Guppy's Paw a little bit later. And you know what? Samson's Lock, you can go bye-bye for Ace of Spades. This is, you know, selective memory from me, because I just said, what's the point in swapping trinkets when we're so close to, you know, having to go with the Polaroid forever. But the card actually could make a pretty major difference here. So Unicorn Horn is not great, but what this does mean is that there is a convenient reroll pedestal available whenever I want to use 1 bomb to access it. So it's a little bit more of a substantial buy-in cost than you might be used to, because we will have to use a bomb in order to reroll in general, which is fairly cost prohibitive, but I do have the bomb bag, so there is that. And actually, we don't have to use a bomb. In fact, if I kept an enemy alive there, I could have just used this room to perpetually, like, reopen this area. But the Empress, okay, so Devil and the Empress, both very good cards. We'll reroll this. The Noose, okay, so this is well worth it already. And we got the Flying Room item. So Devil card and Empress, to be honest with you, the 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, from my standpoint. I am absolutely content to use one on a difficult room before the boss, and then another one we'll save for later in the game. Actually, we could use one. Actually, we can't use one on the boss and then come back. Another golden chest gives us a ton of money, and yet another tarot card. The Hierophant. If we're gonna roll on Spirit Hearts, which you know, I picked them up already, I guess we might as well take the Hierophant card straight away. Now that we can fly, everything becomes just a little bit smoother, which is always a nice position to be in. Transcendence, one of the best secret room items, apart from the absolute game-breaking ones like Epic Fetus, Fetus in a Jar, etc., etc. There's really good secret room items in the pool, though. Unicorn Horn, probably one of the worst, actually. So we have found our boss room. Of course, it is unfortunate, but I cannot attend the boss room because I must look elsewhere for opportunities to use my D6, because otherwise we won't be able to reroll anything. Things are looking up a little bit. What is this on this room? This is the Empress card. So again, we might as well just hold one of these just in case we encounter like a truly hellish room. And this is very good for me because now I have the ability to fly on this room, which should help me prevent taking damage, although I would not be surprised if I end up eating shit anyway. Yep, there's a little bit. That was kind of expected. And what do we have on our item room? Yum Heart. Not useful right now. Maybe if we came across a blood bank, it might be, but I'm just going to pick it up and put it back down because I can't afford to waste any time with the reroll potential that I have right now. So, pick it up, put it back down, and pills, okay. Is it a pill we've seen before? It's a range downgrade, so I'm probably not going to roll with that. If only we were Kane, this would be enormous, but if only we were Kane, we wouldn't have had the opportunity to reroll, would we? So I'm going to gamble, yeah, I'm going to gamble until I get down to 20 cents. There's the Polaroid already. I have to be a little cautious here because I don't want to get totally effed up and end up taking the tick or something like that, but mostly I'm hoping, yeah, Crystal Ball is a really nice item. We're going to stick with our D6, but Crystal Ball is really, really good. It will show us where every room is, and there is a blood bank on this floor, which is very nice. With Transcendence, we'll only take a very small hit walking into our Curse Room, which is always important to note because half-price Curse Rooms can make a pretty big difference. Especially if we need to reroll some Deals with the Devil at some point. But anyway, but Deal with the Devil pool, I guess. Curved Horn, damage upgrade. Nice item. Guppy's Head, yes. And we did not take Guppy's Tail when we had the opportunity. But we could still possibly snag this Deal with the Devil, although, or sorry, not Deal with the Devil. We could still possibly become Guppy, although it's a little unlikely. But it was very unlikely on the last run, and we ended up making it work, and it made a huge difference. And now that we have the ability to fly, becoming Guppy is not as crazy of an upgrade as it was on the last run. Map is pretty important. Is it worth re-rolling it? I don't think so. You might say, you know, that it probably is, because then we could maybe get the compass, but I'm content to take the map with me. And we will go back, and we're re-rolling. Probably Guppy's Head is the better re-roll option at this point. Even though it does cost us half a Spirit Heart every time. And you know what? We're just going to take Sister Maggie with us. So that I can get some more rerolls available. This is something that I maybe most of the time would not do anymore because it does put us in a position where I'm taking a not so great passive item instead of the possibility of rerolling an amazing item. But I do think we're close enough to the threshold for victory that I can afford to make choices like that give me a small increased chance of winning, because that chance may actually mean a lot by the end. It can add up, is what I'm trying to get at. Hopefully we snag HP plus speed upgrade here. If we don't, it's not the end of the world, but I would be displeased to some extent. But we'll then come back and... Oh, that was half a Spirit Heart. That was dumb. But we'll then gamble on the Fortune Teller as well as our... three-headed man here in the hopes of picking up some useful stuff. The bombs, maybe not crazy important. Keys, you know, welcome. Ideally, yes, okay. That's actually incredibly useful, and we will be going to our boss room soon. Now we are... I mostly want the Spirit Hearts to pay out, or get Red Hearts, so either of those would be exceptionally useful to me right now. We got Crystal Ball again. So, I mean, unfortunately it has the same charge pool. And Crystal Ball would be... crazy useful because we don't have the compass. Maybe I will take Crystal Ball instead of the D6 then. I know it might seem like that's kind of a cop-out here, but it also might be one of the few items that would keep me alive, so... And it's been a long time since we've taken Crystal Ball, like, far into the game, and this basically solves our woe of not having the compass either. So sure, we'll take Crystal Ball with us. Whatever, right? It's gonna be fun, I hope. We'll blow up our blood bank. Do I have a reroll available? Okay, I do have a reroll available, so what we will do is actually go back, reroll the item room. I forget what was in there, but then we'll take the Crystal Ball with us. So Crystal Ball basically functions as kind of a Book of Revelations, plus it'll give us an item. Usually that item is a consumable Spirit Heart. Sometimes it can also be a tarot card. So it could be either incredible or just pretty good. It also reveals the map for us. I forget now the order that I've described these in, but anyway. And it also makes permanent Polaroid invincibility more viable. So this is the pill bottle. We'll take an HP upgrade that also gives us full health. That is a huge pickup here. And I think, maybe, just maybe, I've managed to claw my way back into this run again. From unlikely circumstances into a much more workable position. So, Crystal Ball generates some Spirit Hearts that allow us to survive along with the Relic. Is the Relic still here? Why do I not see it around? Oh, there it is. It's just at the tail end of my Familiars. If you take too many Familiars, it can cause... one of them to not stick with you, but I think it only causes an active familiar to disappear, so if I lost the Relic, I'd be pretty disappointed, because it is totally passive. By active, I mean one that shoots, sorry, not just one that hangs out. So, Blue Mom is the harder version of the fight that we could possibly, or the hardest version of the fight that we could possibly have here, but I should be able to kind of finagle my way around and not really be in that much danger, and this is basically over as is. I took some damage at the end, but we got a pretty good item at the end. I actually quite like... Do we know what this is? We don't. Puberty, okay. I quite like the, well, we'll take the Polaroid with us, but I quite like the crate because it does give us a key, which is pretty important. Spirit Hearts, especially if we're rolling on permanent Polaroid invincibility. We took the Empress card with us, and we are going to have some XL glitch or a pink glitch here, so allow me to take a sip of my coffee. Okay, this is really good, and I'll explain why. Now that we have an XL floor, I mean, it's actually, okay, one reason it's really bad, and this is actually something I didn't consider when I originally said it, but is that we will not be able to get a deal with the devil. So, our hopes of getting Guppy's Paw are probably permanently dashed. But the reason this is good is because we can speed through this floor relatively easily just by using our compass to kind of let us know where the boss rooms are. And I assume they're going to be far away from this, but I figured, you know, why not go to the secret room just while we're here? And I guess that's just a total waste. But this will also show us where all of the interesting rooms are. So maybe there is... I guess an arcade would be maybe a little tempting, also incredibly frightening. There's a boss trap room, which I can't do anything with. The Hanged Man card is useless. And our boss rooms are over there in the top right. So, yeah, that's where we're going to go. I could sacrifice one Spirit Heart and a few rooms to go into the Curse room, which is tempting. But I think at this point, you know, it's like in Hearthstone. At some point, you got to make the decision to rush down the enemy. I think we're coming up to that point right now where I'm going to stop... trying to scum my way into better items, and I'm just gonna take the items that I have and try to scum my way to victory. A little bit less over the top than the last run, but that's not surprising because the last run was really like a 1 in 100 chance of having, like, one item took us to permanent Polaroid invincibility, also turned us into Guppy, and basically gave us the victory, as well as the nail, I guess, but Nail plus Nunsabot obviously is a fairly broken combo, but it had to be taken at that point, or I would not have had any chance to beat the game. This one's a little bit more up in the air, and, you know, it was the Woompar one that turned me around on that last run, but it's looking like this is going to be a much more conventional series of Womb floors, because we don't really... Oh, we will get a tarot card here, which could be extremely beneficial. I could use the Empress card to fight this boss, and then, you know, maybe take a Sun card or something to the next floor, which would be the Cathedral, which would obviously be a much more valuable card at that point in the game, in all likelihood. Okay, so our tarot card here is the Moon, which teleports us to the secret room. I don't think that's worth it. We've already been to the secret room. I'm going to use the... Yeah, I'm going to use the Crystal Ball, mostly to give me the Spirit Heart. It's a tough call, because, of course, I could also then... if I didn't use the Crystal Ball, I could have immediately used it maybe on the Cathedral, and... immediately figured out where the boss room was going to be and maybe save myself a couple of rooms and thus a couple of Spirit Hearts worth of damage. But I thought, why don't we go for broke here? And, you know, we're going to get to about 2/3 of a Crystal Ball charge here anyway as a result of fighting 2 bosses and also having the 9 volt. So, pretty smart play in my opinion. Another HP upgrade. That is pretty big at this point, so we'll be fighting Mom now. Obviously important, and the number of times that I've started taking damage from those turrets, it just continues to rise like a phoenix. And, you know, Mom's Heart is kind of the ideal fight when you have a decent number of bombs as well as rage, because our base damage is going to become stupid amazing, and, of course, enemies like Monstro don't really worry me all that much. But as long as I get decent crowd control like that, we'll be able to do stupid amounts of damage. We also have crowd control in the form of Little Chubby here, which is something that I've neglected to mention a little bit. It's a nice damage bonus. Not the greatest upgrade in the game, but we get him so rarely that I like having him. So I also do not need to worry about the creep in this situation. I need to worry about the explosions, but not the, you know, kind of resulting toxic spill. So, up to the next floor. 2 rooms, and we will be able to... Ooh, okay, let's see what it is in our secret room here. 2 rooms, and I'll be able to find out where exactly the boss room is. I'm going to gamble that it's actually down in the middle here, so we'll try it out. At the very least, you know, fighting Greed is probably one of the... Or double Greeds, I should say, but it's probably one of the easier rooms that we could possibly face at this point in the game, especially with the ability to fly, and no turret in the center, which can't be overstated. I can just kind of hang out over this rock, and then... Ugh... He baited me out there. I thought he was helpless now that he wasn't, like, parallel to me, but so be it. We lost 1 Spirit Heart. And we picked up a tarot card. Maybe fair trade. Magician. Probably not a fair trade. 1 more room will tell us exactly where the boss room is, and it's a little scary. We certainly do not have nearly as much health as we had this time on the last run, but we can still swing this. 2 Spirit Hearts on this room is pretty big. Okay, so this is not the right way to go. For 2 bombs, I could skip 2 rooms, So I think 1 bomb per room is an okay trade, especially since I don't have to worry about placing the bomb specifically at the door, which is the most annoying part when you're trying to do like a very rushed speed run. We also found a tinted rock in here, and I have to use a bomb anyway, more or less, to open up famine. Although I could have just flown over here, but then that would have put me in very, very close proximity to an enemy I don't necessarily want to be in very, very close proximity to. So, mostly not concerned at all about this. I was going to say we should use Little Chubby to do as much damage as possible, but let's be honest, it's not going to make a huge difference when you're fighting an early game enemy like that. Okay, 1 bomb, or actually, he killed himself on his own bomb flies, which is very nice for me. Now, we may end up saving our crystal ball to use immediately on the chest, because the chest rooms are obviously substantially more difficult than any other room in the game, the cathedral included, so I think that might be for the best. I am a little bit worried about this war fight, and I'm just being honest there, because I think his speed might be equivalent or even a little bit better than mine. Nah, we should still be able to keep him back. Our speed is okay, maybe because we can fly, and also the knockback is fine. So that's good. We got our crystal ball charged, and we will drop a bomb there. Probably should have played the slot machine a few times, but oh, the slot machine still exists. So sure, why don't we play the slot machine and see if we can get something out of this. I guess I would want spirit hearts, which are fairly unlikely to drop. But we're still going here. Could pay out with $1. What am I gonna do? Okay, we could be here forever. Let's just blow it up and leave. Maybe we'll get something important. Another key. Probably not a good idea to trade a bomb for a key at this point, but... So, I think I'm gonna use the Empress card here, and I shouldn't have waited as long as I did, but, you know, hindsight's 20/20, right? And the reason I use the Empress card here and not on the Blue Baby fight, when Blue Baby is probably a slightly more difficult fight overall, is because Blue Baby also summons flies. I can use those flies to build my base damage, and thus I will probably not need as much of a damage boost to beat Blue Baby as I do against Isaac, where my base damage would be what I'm rolling on like almost the entire time. So, first phase of the fight, got hit twice, then another time right there. This could be going worse. We are, of course, you know, having to deal with a pretty crazy barrage of shots, and it's making me feel like I'm a lot less likely than I originally anticipated to actually be able to beat the chest. But that depends how much health we manage to bring into that Blue Baby fight, and to some extent, what items we end up picking up on the ground floor of the chest as well. Either way, I'm pretty pleased with this run. That Angel Fetus appeared, like, directly behind me, which is kind of a dick move, in all honesty. If we end up finding a Guppy's Paw at some point, that would probably be enough to guarantee us a victory. And it is worth noting that we totally could have become Guppy on this run if I had just taken 9 lives, but I'm kind of glad I didn't as well, because I might have died 8 times by now. So, we didn't even get a Spirit Heart by way of that Fortune Teller, but we know exactly the right way to go. Guardian Angel, good. Quad Shot, good. Doctor's Remote, not necessarily good. Monster Manuel, pretty terrible. So we're going to take this way to get to the boss. And I should kill Lust last, ideally, but that's not going to happen, because I'm playing this like a twin-stick shooter, which it is, where I, you know, fire behind me to kill any chasing enemies, Geometry Wars style. So we're in a tough spot here, a very, very tough spot. And, you know, Quad Shot's good. It's probably not enough. Guardian Angel, good. Probably not enough, although this may help stop the bleeding a little bit, especially when we get another orbital there by Halo of Flies. But it may stop the bleeding a little bit on that Blue Baby fight, where, you know, on the Isaac fight, obviously we ended up taking a lot of damage, which is not ideal. I would love to kill Lust last, but the knockback is such a problem. I'm going to accidentally hit it into me so many times that I should probably just wipe it out as soon as possible, yeah. And, you know, whether I kill Greed or Envy last is more or less irrelevant. So, I'm very glad I didn't take damage there. That was a total possibility. And, you know, by way of a full suite of orbitals and Guardian Angel... No, that was really bad. It is technically possible that this run could work. I would love to get some more Spirit Hearts in the meantime. We'll probably get one more before the boss room. We got Mr. Boom as well. And lots of good D6 pedestals down here, but sadly, not too much I can do. Okay, we need to kill Gluttony last in this case. Gluttony is a very convenient enemy to kill last. He does damage to other enemies, and he doesn't really move around all that much, so... should be completely feasible for me to kill him last, as you just saw. Spirit Hearts or Red Hearts, I am not picky in this situation. Give me whatever you got, buddy. I'll take it. Both! And another Spirit Heart by way of the Relic, so... It's a good payout. I don't think it matters which one we kill first or last here. Probably better to kill Pestilence first so we don't have to deal with as much creep. But, oh, we don't have to worry about the creep anyway because we can fly. So, this secret room could also be extraordinarily beneficial, of course. And now we're at what, like 5 health? 6 health? That's going to be another tarot card. Oh, that's actually maybe really good. Okay, this could be what wins us the game here. 2 of spades, not that beneficial, so we'll just get it out of here. But I'm thinking we'll pick up all of the spirit hearts that we can possibly get from this fortune teller, and of course, the more the merrier. What is our... We have the tower card. And safety cap, I don't think... I'd rather have the Polaroid, even though it doesn't do that much for us. We'll play the shit out of this, then we'll blow it up, and in blowing it up, we should get an item. Oh, this might be enough to do it. See, gambling makes such a difference at this point in the game if you get very, very lucky. I guess gambling always makes a difference if you get very, very lucky. It's the unlucky people that it makes a bad difference for. Okay, so we'll now blow up the fortune teller here. It should pay out with an item. It did. It's a PhD. So safety cap plus PhD. A little too late, but I appreciate the thought regardless. No point in fighting that. Tower card is probably not going to make a huge difference. And this is not a crazy difficult room. So I'll just watch out for the bombs, obviously. That's a fairly important part of any fight, but the war fight especially. And I honestly think we may actually pull out another fairly unlikely victory here. And this one with 60% less cheesing, ideally. Although some people are inevitably going to feel that taking any item that generates spirit hearts is, you know, cheesing the game, which I do not agree with. Crystal Ball is fairly balanced, and I didn't have a Nun's Habit this time, merely the 9 volt, so... sucks to your Asmar, basically. Alright, let's see if we can make this work. Obviously, we want to be able to build as much rage as possible on these flies, otherwise we're going to have a real uphill battle here. But this is why, with rage, it's almost a little bit easier sometimes to be fighting Blue Baby as opposed to be fighting Isaac. Even a small damage bonus over the course of a very long fight can have a huge cumulative impact. Still a very difficult word to pronounce. Cumulative. Cumulative. Just slur all your words together and then tell people the hearing's bad. That's what I do for everything. We are almost certainly going to win here. Surprising, but we continue the streak and in kind of unlikely circumstances. So, again, I appreciate all of the positive comments. I appreciate people noticing that I'm making more of an effort to be a little bit more patient, diligent, take some more risks in my play, but smart risks as opposed to just lazy risks. And, yeah, basically nothing could stop us here. We kind of got lucky with RNG on the chest, but even without those spirit hearts, I think we would have had more, the spirit hearts from the fortune teller, I think we would have had more than enough health to live there. So in any case, as always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Make sure to click the like button if you enjoyed it. It does help support me a lot. And of course, subscribe if you want to see more Daily Isaac. As always, thanks for watching. I look forward to reading your comments, and I'll see you tomorrow with another Isaac episode.